Sometimes people find themselves thinking in ways that feel safe, certain, and even comforting. It's natural, really, because our minds, they're wired to seek patterns, to look for solutions when uncertainty arises. And it's almost like when we see something happening around us that triggers a deep, almost primal response. The mind does what it does best. It protects, it reassures, it tries to make sense of it all. Now imagine for a moment a time when something unexpected happened, a shift in the world, something that caught your attention, something that caused others to act in a certain way, to make a decision. And in the middle of all that, you might have heard something that felt almost like an answer, something that seemed to give a sense of control over the uncertainty. You could say, perhaps, it was like a signpost guiding you, and everyone else, towards what seemed like the safest path. Masks, for example, they might have seemed like the answer at the time. But here's the thing about answers, isn't it? They can often create a kind of certainty that feels good at first. But sometimes, as things change, we start to notice, perhaps without even realizing it, the things we once believed to be true, they aren't always as true as they seemed. Perhaps something else is at play, something subtle, something that could shift the way you think. Let's pause for a moment. Picture a situation where someone, maybe even you, finds themselves wearing a mask, even when they're alone, or when they're outside in the open air. It's curious, isn't it? In some places, even though we might know on a deep level, the circumstances have changed, there's still something that compels the belief to persist, like a little anchor to the past, a gentle reminder of when things felt certain. Now, if you allow yourself to step back just a little, you might begin to realize that beliefs, even deeply held ones, are like habits of the mind. And just like any habit, they're patterns shaped over time, shaped by experiences, by things we see, by what others say, by what seems to work in the moment. And sometimes those patterns, though they might have started out as helpful, they might not serve us as they once did. Isn't that interesting? You see, beliefs are powerful. They influence how you see the world. They can shape your actions, our responses, even how we feel in a given moment. But what if beliefs, they could be like soft clay? And what if, with just the right kind of influence, that clay could be gently moulded, shifted into new shapes, new patterns? Patterns that might feel even more aligned with where you want to be, and what feels more true for you, even now. And so, when you notice how others react, or how you might have once reacted, it's like seeing a reflection of a belief that was formed under pressure, under the weight of fear and uncertainty. It doesn't make anyone wrong. It doesn't make them weak. It just shows how the mind, in its quest for safety, it can latch onto something it believes will protect it. A mask in that moment. It may have felt like protection. And that belief, even though it's shaped by fear, it can persist long after the circumstances that created it have changed. It's as if a switch was flipped in the mind, and that switch turned on a whole new way of thinking. Once it's on, it's easy for the mind to focus on the rightness of that belief. But you know what? That doesn't mean the mind can't switch back. It doesn't mean the mind can't choose again. And doesn't mean the belief is set in stone. And as you reflect just for a moment on the nature of beliefs, you might begin to notice something interesting. Beliefs, they're not facts. Not in the way that a rock is a rock. Beliefs, they're more like filters. Filters that colour how we see things, how we interpret the world around us. A belief is like a lens. And when you look through that lens, it changes what you see. What if, just for a moment, you could begin to step back just slightly and see that lens for what it really is? What if you could observe, from a place of calm and curiosity, the process of how that belief was formed? You might begin to notice something. That as strong as the belief may seem, it's simply a thought that can be examined, understood, and even gently adjusted. And maybe, just maybe, you could see there's no need to hold on to something that no longer serves. Perhaps as your awareness grows, you'll start to notice how certain things no longer fit, no longer resonate with the person you are today. It's almost like peeling away layers gently, easily, and realizing beneath those layers is a new freedom, a new sense of choice, a new way of seeing things. And isn't it fascinating, the way your mind can adjust and adapt, finding comfort and safety, and then in the right moment, discovering new patterns that fit better, feel better, more aligned with the world. And when you think about masks, think about them as symbols, symbols of protection, symbols of uncertainty, and symbols of the mind's natural ability to adapt. And you can choose to see them in new ways, as tools that helped, and then, when the time was right, could be gently set aside, leaving behind only the knowledge, the understanding, the freedom to choose how to move forward. Because it's amazing how much power you have. Power to choose, power to change, power to shape your beliefs in ways that serve your highest good. You see, the mind is not rigid, it's fluid, it's flexible. And when you tap into that flexibility, you can find yourself effortlessly moving towards new, more empowering beliefs. Beliefs that are in harmony with your own experiences and your own growth. And as you do that, just imagine how effortlessly you can begin to notice, to reflect, to choose new patterns. Your mind, always ready to adjust, always ready to evolve, guiding you towards greater peace, greater clarity, greater alignment with who you truly are. And isn't that a beautiful thing?